It's your man, Coach Block, want to have a TDS radio, and I'm here with SoFab Kim and Katrina. I'm glad y'all didn't hear me mess up because I actually messed up. So there's a lot in this bio, and there's so many different things that she's done. So we're going to jump straight in. I'm going to read the bio, and then, we're going to go into a little bit about you, let you talk about yourself a little bit. Then, if you don't mind, we're going to do the messy letter together.
Okay.
And then we'll go into everything that you do, from the strategy, the entrepreneur, to all that.
Okay.
All right, cool. Let's do it. So Ms. Harrell is an award-winning strategist, serial entrepreneur, teacher, writer, and creator. As a best-selling author and CEO of Sage 22 Ventures, LLC, Katrina speaks on panels and conferences and international retreats on personal leadership, transformation, social entrepreneurship, and business strategies.
Yes.
All that.
All that.
All of it.
I know that's right.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, and you can pick where you want to start, and we'll get around all of it.
Okay. Thank y'all for having me.
No problem.
Happy to do it. This is really cool. I just got off work. I work full time.
Okay.
Still. But my name is Katrina Monique Harrell. Harrell. People get it. People say it various ways. But I'm an entrepreneur. I am an executive coach and a teacher. And I teach people how to walk in the fullness of who they are.
Okay.
So everything you just read, summarizing to just that little bit right there. I'm also a mom of 2 children, a college kid, my son, and my daughter is in high school.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Like I said, I'm a full-time executive in a government.
Ooh, girl. Yes.
I got that good government job.
Yes, honey.
And yeah, I just love seeing people walk in their truth.
Okay.
And not being afraid of their own shadows.
Okay, cool.
Because, being in your shadows is typically where you find the most light. So I help bring people into themselves so that they can walk into their light.
I know that's right.
That's dope.
That's
amazing.
Dope.
So there's a lot of positive with that. So hopefully you can keep that energy with the messy letter, because usually the messy letter cause you to be like, what?
And this one is long, y'all.
So
y'all gonna have to hang with me.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and read the messy letter. Then most of the time they end with a question of asking us something.
Oh, she's asking for help.
Is she? Okay, so then we give some advice. Now, you can go multiple ways with your advice. Some people go with their advice and they give it straight, and it may not be nice, and some people may like to put the hand on the back. However it hits you, you give your advice as such.
I will be honest.
I know that's right. That's all we ask.
Then after that, we'll go into everything that you do, because I got a whole bunch of questions to ask.
Okay.
All right?
My God. Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. So it's time for
I'm sorry. I'm slacking today. Jesus. All right. It is time for the messy letter. It's that time.
Whew. Okay. So this one is long, like I said. So hang with me, y'all. Title: Relationship status. It's complicated. I have been exclusively dating a guy for almost a year and a half now. I'm 32. He is 44. We'll call him Larry. The issue is Larry has complicated baggage. He currently still resides with his children's mother, who he was with for 12 years, even though they broke up 3 years ago. The reason they still live together is because the house is in his name as well as her father's. So her father lives on the top floor of the house. Very complicated situation. He stated he is ready to date and would not be able to fully commit until his situation is resolved. He told me this on the first date, and the reason I decided to continue was at the time I respected the honesty, and I was just looking to enjoy the fun and dating, nothing serious. Larry filed for full ownership of the house with the Supreme Court in March 2022. We met in December 2022. Larry's intention are to legally evict the mother and her father and proceed for custody of the children after he buys them out of the house. They have separate rooms, and I have stayed the night over at least 4 times. And of course, no, she isn't there when I do. Since we met, the awesome things are very awesome. Consistent weekly sleepovers, small gifts from groceries on a normal basis to more significant gifts like a refrigerator and a PlayStation. He introduced me to his daughter and his best friend. He will take off work to take me on dates if our schedules do not align. He stands up for me when my male roommates get out of line, gives me lots of attention and consistency throughout the day. Overall, treats me very well, maybe among the best I've ever dated. I've been happier since we met. Like I said, it's been a year and about 4.5 months that we've been dating. At the point, I'm starting to fall in love. So I asked him how he feels about me and was simply told that he likes me. I do not know what to do with that information. He might as well said that he doesn't like me in a romantic way. He is not my man, but he does call me his girl outwardly, but hasn't asked yet. Basically said not to rush or force things, but bruh, it's been a year and a half. I know that's not long compared to 12-year relationships with children. I'm not expecting a relationship until she's out the picture. I'm still just enjoying my time. Now the bad, not so awesome. The issues I see, though, is worrisome considering the facts. He has not spent the night with me on Valentine's Day or his birthday yet. That would make 2 Valentine's Day and 1 birthday we haven't spent the night together. Brace yourself for this part because it's essential to know. There was a moment in the relationship where I caught him cheating his birthday and did not call him out on it for 2 reasons. The first is I was ready to let go. And 2, I had also slept with someone else since dating him as a way to not fall for him. My reasoning for cheating, but since stopped. Because I knew my dirt, I wasn't as upset and actually let it go and forgot about it. Now that I'm reflecting on dating Larry, despite me knowing that I was dealing with other people up until around his birthday, I feel like I fucked up for not calling him out on it. And it's more likely to happen now. I don't even know why it's coming back up and bothering me now, but not when it happened. Maybe I'm reflecting and scared that it will happen again on his birthday. I think I'm just starting to see repetition that maybe Larry might still be with their mother's children. But how can Larry give you so much time and stay the night every week if they are together? It's not just on the special days. That's what's tripping me up. He says it's just business between the two. And if anything, he holds respect for her to keep the peace. They were engaged in 2016, but he never married her. Has shown me court records for the battle over the house and shares police reports whenever things get ugly between the two. Anyway, since he told me that he just likes me, I've been falling back painfully, and he has been pursuing me in the same manner and posted about me on his social media from time to time. He knows I'm acting differently and is asking to talk about it and to go on dates afterwards. I'm looking for guidance on how to address those special days or to not address and how to move forward considering we aren't together, just dating. I do not anticipate ghosting Larry as I feel that we can exit as friends at worst case scenario. A personal goal of mine is to stop walking away, ghosting everyone, and learning to work through the tough, uncomfortable things. Whether, no, she didn't spell weather like weather. It's with Larry or my future spouse who may not be Larry. Part of me hopes that the situation will resolve itself the way he painted the picture for me. Yeah, I'm telling you. The other part of me wants to cut my losses and just keep him for the benefits. What should I do?
Can we all take a breath?
God.
The throat got dry real quick.
Jesus.
I was trying not to just while you were reading. But yeah, okay. Well, we always let our guests start first. So where would you like to? That's probably the longest letter we've ever had.
I got to take a breath first.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Now I got to put my teacher hat on right away because what I heard, and I'm going to have to make some assumptions to kind of fill in the gap. So whoever's listening, just know I don't know everything, obviously, but what I can say is that people, and women in particular, we are really, really good at making up stories and crafting stories about what we want and what we expect out of other people, and tricking ourselves into believing something isn't that is, or something is that isn't. And throughout the letter, this young woman went in and out of that
Mhm.
so many times. She says she didn't want a relationship. It was
Mhm.
just fun.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to stay for the benefit, but I would ask her truly, what is the benefit that she's getting from it?
Right.
Because what she's probably suggesting to us that the benefit is spending time with him and probably sex, right? And all the things that she listed of the gifts and all those things. I would challenge her to question if those are truly the real benefits that she's getting from it. And is the benefit that she's getting from it actually her avoiding her own lack of worth and self-worth? There's some disconnection there within herself that she's sort of, kind of passed on to this man, because all of the signs are there.
Yeah.
If I could share a quick, and this is a short story. When you started reading it, I thought you were reading my life.
Ooh.
But kind of in reverse. I was in a 14-year relationship with my children's father, and we were not legally married. I ended the relationship, but we stayed living under the same roof for about 2.5 years. He was dating someone else. Ooh, I'm telling people business out here on the internet, child. I don't even care. I'm too grown to care. That's right. I'm good. But I'm listening.
Hello.
We were living under the same roof. He started dating someone else. I don't know the details of their relationship while we were still together. But I'm pretty sure he painted a nice picture for that young lady to make it appear as if this was a relationship out of convenience. He too wanted me to leave the home and take my name off the deed and all those things. Why? Because he was ready to move on. And move on meant moving her in. And so I just share that, and I'll just start right there. And this is how I can see from this young lady or this person, the self-deception. She is definitely in a self-deceptive state, asking questions that only she has the answer to.
Right.
She will not be able to find the answer until she decides to be honest with herself and realize that any man that you spend 18 months or however long it's been with, and you're falling in love, and he says, I just like you, is getting the benefit of not having to commit to you.
Girl, you said it.
Because he has a relationship already.
Absolutely.
That he's fully committed to.
He's committed to this relationship that he's been in for 12 years. It is not because of the children. It is because this is what he wants.
Right.
It's the story that he made. So I had to get the kind of had to get that deep part just to bring it right back.
We following
to that is his story. What benefit would it be for him to let both of these women go and choose if he doesn't have to choose?
Right.
Yeah.
She's not giving him a reason to, because she's convinced herself, I don't even want him.
Right.
But I love him. Women, we don't do that.
Hello.
Right.
Sis down here, she needs to be clear.
Right.
When we tell ourselves, I love him, but I don't want to be with him, that's confusion. And so we do stuff like tolerate things that we shouldn't tolerate. We try to make excuses for men or whomever we're with, whomever we are into, make excuses for them and their behavior. And we try to rationalize it. And then we try to ask for opinions of other people for questions that only we can answer. So my statement to her and anyone is, what do you truly want?
Right.
And we don't have to make our desires complicated. That was complicated.
Yes, girl. It was.
And who got that much time
Right.
to
Yes, it
live
was.
in that kind of complication?
Right.
If you are single, I'm assuming a beautiful woman, baby, there's so many more options, and ain't that much good stuff in the world to make me be with somebody. no judgment, because I have done some stuff. Now I'm just saying. But when you learn, you realize that there's plenty.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that can go on and on. But
and that was where I was going to slap into the age difference.
Because she's 32
and
he's 44.
He's 44. 44, he done a little bit things, you know what I mean? And she may not have. And so then now it's like, I'm going to keep feeding you what you want to hear so that you can't rationalize what you're really seeing. So then now if I can keep you foggy in the mind, which is what anybody who knows or listens to this show, when men do stuff like this, I call it flat out. This is bull. So you keep her foggy in the mind so that you can keep her close enough to where you can continue to tell her what she needs to hear to keep her on the rope. But back at home, that woman is still very much so active in your day-to-day functionality, and you're not gonna change that. You're not gonna uproot that, because just like you said, there's absolutely no reason to uproot it. You're okay with everything that has been provided at this time, and it's not forcing you to say, I need to lay a boundary here for myself. Now, either we're going to do this or I'm going to roll. That doesn't sound like there's any ultimatums inside of there. There's still a lot of acceptance to the behavior that deep down inside, because when you write all the good, that was the pad everything, so that when you drop this bad, everybody's like, well, you kind of know the answer, because the bad is evident enough to be like, no, girl, is this what? Then you wanted to make another excuse for yourself by saying, well, I've cheated too. Well, let's be honest, you're the single one in this situation.
Right. And you said that you're not together, so you didn't really cheat.
Yeah, but if you have that guilt of your cheating, well, then we can help you with that and say, no, you're the single one.
Right.
My question to her is, do you want a relationship? That's a simple yes or no answer.
Right.
And if you don't, deal with him and don't complain about it.
Yeah.
Boom.
There's no question to ask.
Exactly.
Just be okay with the fact
with the situation.
He's in a relationship and you're in a relationship with someone who has a relationship.
Exactly.
And boy, does he.
And don't try to do little things to try to get a rise out of him. Because the whole thing of like, oh, well, I'm cheating too, or I'm going to fall back because I want you to feel and I want you to do and I want you to attract. Nobody has time for that. No, nobody has time for that. And then the other thing too, our good sis, when she immediately said, it is a lot. It's a lot. When she said, and this goes to what you're saying, how we will come up with scenarios in our head and come up with this fictitious relationship because we see potential. When she said, when he told me about his situation and I told myself at least he's being honest. No, baby. No. That whole situation is entirely too messy. And right there in that moment, you knew I shouldn't put myself into this, but you thought, and you've seen the potential and like, well, at least he's being honest, and then said, I'm still going to jump on this train. Your intuition told you right then and there, we're not doing this, because let him clean up this whole entire situation, then come and court you. Why in the world would I want to be with somebody who's still living in the house with the mother of his children, 12 years? You cannot get rid of that much chemistry. And then I'm supposed to just sit here and be like, oh, everything's okay. And you're noticing little things like, oh, he's missing during certain dates, during certain times, and he overcompensates for certain things. This man is grooming and he's leading you on and he's manipulating the situation. Don't fall for it. Baby. Don't.
And she said court dates. What the hell? Like,
and then things get nasty between the two of them. Like, whoa.
He shows me all their court dates and all this other and
police reports.
The police reports. Like, what y'all got going on? This is something, but then as long as the game is, because I'm being honest.
Right.
And so then now you've settled. That's what we'll call this. You've decided to settle. And as you said, it's cool to settle as long as you understand the rules of the game you're playing. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you've made this decision. Cool. That's your life, your prerogative. But don't make a movie out of this, because it ain't. This ain't no movie.
But like you said, once this gets into it, it's hard. These two are battling it out because your mind is telling you one thing, but she's like, but girl, think about it. Think about it.
Yes.
Like,
we will rationalize anything.
Yes.
Anything to make it work for us. We can make logic out of anything.
Absolutely.
One of my spiritual teachers teaches me that there's a difference between the truth and facts. So what she listed is just information, but the truth is something that you cannot refute. It's not complicated. It is very clear, and you have to get to the truth. And one more thing, there's also a difference between honesty and transparency.
Right.
So someone can be honest and say, hey, this is what it is. I don't know the person that she's dating, of course, but people use honesty as a tool of manipulation.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's a tool. So you have to utilize your own intuition, your own intellect, your own understanding. This is why I say it's important to understand who you are at your core and the stories you've told yourself. The more things start to get complicated for you, the more you are realizing your own self-manipulation is at play right now. And you have to start unpacking that.
Yes.
What do you want? That's what I would ask her if she was sitting here. What do you want? And don't bring him into it. Just what do you want?
Right.
And if you don't have a clear answer for that, that's where you need to pause.
Right.
Don't play these little games trying to manipulate him back.
Right. Right.
But if you want to be messy and toxic, then be messy and toxic. That's
know
okay.
what that comes
That's
with.
okay. Yeah, that's your choice.
But
I suspect that that's not what she wants. She probably wants to be loved.
Yeah. And she probably wants
a
him,
relationship.
but this ain't it.
He don't want her.
This ain't, because you got hurt by his response of "I like you."
Right.
That hit you enough to cause you to feel like, oh. So I don't know what more a person has to do, because all this is, I guess, it's like it's put in a capsule of the truth, and so then now you just swallowed the capsule. Like, okay, well, I'll swallow this.
Yeah.
But I like you. I'm still living in my situation, very much so. Like, ain't nothing changing. So much so that the dad lives upstairs.
Right.
Like, what you
and you spending the night? Is Dad still upstairs? While we trying to get busy? Because wait a minute,
Dad is upstairs while y'all doing things. Like, nah, we ain't no. Yeah, it's very weird. So yes. So then our final question, because then we can go into some positive things. The final question was help her, right?
Yeah. What should she do?
Well,
what should she do?
Yeah. So let everybody get her final response.
What should she do is she should be honest with herself, and she should stop lying to herself about what it is that she thinks that she doesn't want.
Right.
That's what she should do. Also, leave him alone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Or decide. No, let me back that up. She should ask herself what she wants, and then she should decide what is she willing to tolerate, and be willing to live with the consequences of that decision.
Right.
And leave everybody else out of that.
Yeah.
And realize this is the choice you made, and allow that man to be who he is if you choose to stay with him.
Boom.
And be okay with it. But don't try to make it into something that it's not.
Boom.
And I would say the same exact thing. So there's no reason for me to try to reword exactly what you said, because I agree. The biggest thing you have to do is decide and live with the consequences if you decide to stay in it. And if you get out of it and you still don't feel okay, then I would also suggest therapy. On this show, we believe here at TDS Radio, we believe that you should take your ass to therapy. So go to that so that you can find your way to be fulfilled with yourself and be comfortable with sitting with yourself, because some people just are not comfortable with being with them. So until you get to that point, then it's going to be hard for you to even have a successful relationship, because you don't know what the space is for you to do the things that you want to do, the things that you like to do. Where am I coming from? Like, where am I at in my space before I add somebody else into it? So, my suggestion, added to your point, is decide, and then once you decide, let's go get some therapy.
I have nothing else to add. I agree with both of you.
I'm sorry, we had one more comment, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay.
Therapy, absolutely.
Therapy is beautiful. I agree.
Absolutely.
Like, just, at that point in time that you decide, it's going to be hard because there is a connection.
And it's going to make you accountable.
Is it a connection?
In her mind.
I'm sorry.
I guess it's not. It ain't a connection.
I mean, if these are the types of questions we have to ask ourselves to challenge our perceptions and what we're living. Is there really a connection?
Right.
You know, some people say, I know this isn't the topic here, but, you know, some people, I was waiting for you to say, I feel like this is somebody I was destined to be with in the twin flame.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was waiting
twin
for that.
flame girl. No.
Yeah, I was waiting for that, because whether a twin flame or all these things or a connection exists or not, does that give reason for you to put up with something that is not what you truly want?
Right.
So is there really a connection, or is this something that was just a convenience for you?
Right.
And you just got caught up.
I like that. Connection versus convenience.
Yeah.
It sounds a little convenient to
It
me.
is. And then you got caught up.
I can say that like that because I've been there. And it took me months to realize that what I thought was a connection was really just, I just got caught up in the convenience of some good stuff. And it took me a while to unpack that and unravel what was going on with me.
And it hurts.
It hurts.
Because you have to realize that. And then now you have to hold yourself accountable because you allowed this to happen. It's like, damn,
I let it happen. Right. That's right.
Right. Cool. Any more comments?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, cool. So then
y'all behaving yourself today.
I see that. Y'all, because usually y'all go in like
fuck her.
yeah. So we have told them we have guests like be cool till we get a feel.
Act
Let
right.
everybody get comfortable first, because they'll go in like she's dumb as hell. Like, no, he's up. But
I mean,
this
no,
but on this type of topic, and especially when we spoke about therapy, the way I came across Katrina was an event that she was doing, partnered with Let's Be Social Raleigh. And this event that I saw the video of was a space where people were going to be vulnerable. And it kind of mimicked what we talk about with Fuck Up Night. So I reached out because I seen a group of lovely Black people being vulnerable.
Dope.
So would you like to talk about the group setting and what you're doing and the vibe?
Yeah. So I have partnered with Let's Get Social Raleigh, the founder, Michelle Paul. I came, probably like most of us, came across this beautiful group that she put together and these meetups. And I used to host my own meetups called Liberation Conversations in Raleigh, and they were intimate dinners with women. And then I wanted to bring it back recently, but I said to myself strategically, it didn't make sense for me to try to start all over again. And I knew what she was doing with this group. And one of her chats, she had many chats, and one of them was I Just Want to Talk is the name of the chat. And I noticed the conversations in that group and what people were talking about, and they were being really vulnerable. I mean, virtual strangers. We're all pretty much, we call each other cousins, but it's, we don't know each other. And people were talking about having a rough day, or, just all these different challenges. And it was one particular lady that was like posting stuff all the time. And I said, you know what? I have this thing over here, but this thing is right in front of me. And I asked Michelle, I said, hey, I want to pull a dinner together. And do you mind if I set this up? And she said, sure. And I did it in Wake Forest at a little Tapa bar. It was so intimate and cute. And it was like maybe 10 of us that showed up. And I was like, hey, and the topic was self-love. And we started talking about what does self-love and self-care look like. And my role, and, from that meeting on, is really to facilitate and just open up the floor for people to share. And two of the people said, wow, we want to do this again. So I got with them, and Michelle was like, can you do this again? And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
And then we've been doing it every month since July 23.
That's awesome.
That's dope.
Yeah, we only missed 1 month, and that was December. That was because we just all wanted a break. But we've been doing it every month, and now we are doing still doing once a month, but we're thinking about adding some more variety to it because it's driven truly by the desire of the people in the group or people who are just asking for it. And every meeting is getting more and more dynamic, larger. People are asking, for us to host it there. And one of the cool things about it that has started to happen is that we're also now putting money back into Black-owned businesses.
Love it.
Dope.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, you think 25, 30, 35 people showing up to
Mhm.
your restaurant
Mhm.
on a slow night. And that's
Mhm.
another thing too. When I originally had this idea back in 2019, when I started it, I would pick restaurants on a slow night.
Mhm.
So we do this midweek on
Mhm.
purpose.
Mhm.
Find a location that has a slow night, typically like Tuesday, Wednesdays. And then we ask, can we come in and just take over?
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is the restaurant hosts, if they can accommodate us, they are so excited. They participate in the conversation sometimes, and they get 30 customers right then, because we pretty much all eat
Right.
when we get there
Right.
and have a good time. And we're starting to build some beautiful partnerships. And I would be remiss if I did not mention that. And within this partnership, once, like I said, Michelle started to see that this thing is, growing, and that this was something dear to her as well. She brought in, she actually said, hey, Katrina, I want to partner you up with a licensed clinical therapist. So it's myself as an executive coach, professional trained coach, and we have a licensed clinical therapist.
Awesome.
So, and her name is Leanna Nelson, and she and I talked behind the scenes. And once she came on board, we kind of got some more meat to it. And that's what really helped this thing grow, because she and I started to put there's a difference between therapy and a therapist and a coach, right? So we kind of go back and forth, and we put this beautiful thing together. When we show up together in this space, for her and I, it just gives us both an opportunity to just be who we are. We just kind of just let our hair down. We just are laughing, having a good time. But behind the scenes, we know that there's a method to our madness, if you will. And the folks in the room open up. Not everybody talks, but the folks that don't talk typically leave notes and say things. And it's just a beautiful thing. And like I said, every month we do it. The second Wednesday of every month.
Good.
That is awesome.
Good. Now, the one thing that I am going to ask, because we're learning it too, but here's what we see. We do see a different dynamic with us not being as quick to be vulnerable.
Us meaning who?
Black people.
Okay, thank you.
And so like we are a part of F Up Night Raleigh, and every event is majority. When I say majority white people, it's about 90% white. And
95.
About 95. I was being nice, I'm sorry, but about 95% white. And what we noticed there is a connection and an enjoyment of just being in a safe space and being vulnerable. When creating this space, what did you do to where it's just like organic and people are just feeling cool? Because for us, therapy, we tend not to go. We don't tend to have that shared space. So what about this environment to you feels special enough to where now you see like people are really opening up? What about what is that spirit that's there?
I think for me, it's being sort of comfortable in myself and truly letting go of expectations and setting a tone to everyone that shows up that this is your space.
Right.
So in the beginning, we didn't have topics. We just sort of say, hey, what's on your mind? And that can get kind of, people like, I mean, everything is on my mind. I don't know.
Right.
But after a while, people would just start saying how their day was. And, something, will come up. So I think that the energy that Leanna and I bring in that space is that it's just comfortable. We don't come in there as, hi, I'm Katrina Monique and I'm executive coach, and I'm here to facilitate you to tell me what's going on.
Right.
I come in and say, hey, I'm Katrina, what's up? And so we just bring a relaxed energy. And I think that sort of helps people feel like there's nothing expected out of me but to be.
Right. That's
if you don't want to talk, you don't have to talk. But if you want to talk.
Yeah.
And it's just what it is. And I think the other thing about it too is, like I said, Leanna and I, we really work well with each other. And she and I both made this agreement that we were not going to treat this like work.
Yeah.
So we tell everyone who we are, but Leanna is Leanna.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're on the mic. We should have recorded the whole event last time we did it, because she and I were cutting up so bad on the microphone, telling jokes, singing, dancing. And before you know it, people are just like, wait a minute, you know?
Yeah.
And so now we're walking around. And so we infuse a lot of humor into it. Like I said, we don't drive the conversation. We facilitate.
Right.
So I think that's kind of it. It feels like you're talking to your two cousins.
Right. Right. Yeah. Just sitting in the living room.
There's no motive. There's no wrong answer. We're not looking at no gotchas.
Right.
No one has to be, you know, if you may have an opinion that the next person doesn't agree with. Leanna and I are not going to allow that to be anything that it doesn't need to be.
Right.
You know, we kind of go, okay. And then we actually had that in the last one where one of the young men said something, and I'm gonna let it stay in the room. Yeah. But the rest of the room was like, what? And you know, it was really important for her and I. This was like an unspoken thing, but we knew, you know, to really make sure he still felt safe to have his opinion, even though the rest of the room was like, I know you lying. But he still felt safe. And I want to say one last thing. I'm sorry.
No problem. Talk about it.
The one other part about it, I think that makes this really special, is that we are very intentional about bringing and engaging Black men. So our events are starting to get an uptick in men showing up. And we know we're learning how men think. And we know that if there's certain topics that they want to discuss, we ask in the group. Right. They tell us, we bring it. We don't make it we don't make it hard.
Right.
And the men are showing up, and they are having opinions, and we listen. The feedback, we literally go back. She and I will agonize through text, you know, and Michelle going through it, really hashing it out and making sure that everybody feels heard. So I think that's, you know, we make people, we're comfortable.
Right. Now, how are you balancing this with everything else? Like, because now this baby is starting to grow. She's getting some legs and starting to walk. So how are you balancing this? And does it take over some of the train of thought in the other course of the day? Like, you know, because now this is a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. No, it doesn't, because the way I started it, right? The way we are starting it and growing it is we keeping that same tone, that this is us being, you know, I know my calling in life, a part of it is to teach. And in a space where I'm facilitating, I get to still teach in a very indirect way. And so it doesn't feel like work at all. Okay. The hardest part of it is getting home at 10 o'clock.
I know that's right.
That's the hardest part of it. But otherwise, when I show up there, I'm in my sneakers, I'm in some relaxed wear, hoodie, and give me a microphone. I cut up for a little while, loosen everybody up, and then we just go. Go.
That's dope.
You know,
that's dope. So then now you have a diverse range of expertise spanning in entrepreneurship and all that. So what initially drew you to be so multifaceted? Because like people like me, I admire my sister and I admire you because I don't have the capabilities to do that. Like I am. If this is the task we're working on, that's the task I'm working on. So for somebody to say entrepreneurship, teacher, I wrote books, to me, that makes me exhausted.
Well, you're a coach and you're a radio show host. That's two things.
and by the time
he getting there,
by the time I get home, I'm no good. I promise you, I'm no good. Like I try my best, but I'm shot by the time I get home. Like y'all remember like
it takes you a minute to warm up here. I'm like, come on, nigga, we still got a show.
That's my point, because them kids be draining me at school. So y'all remember the in Living Color, the Haymans, like when it was like 14 jobs, and the one he had 2 jobs and they called him a lazy coconut. I'm the lazy coconut. Like I can't get past 2. So like what drew you to this, and where do you draw your energy from to be able to multitask in so many different things? Because we haven't even discussed your entrepreneur endeavor with it's Sage 22, correct? Sage 22. So how do you where are you pulling energy from? Help me.
Passion.
Okay.
Yeah, passion. If somebody would have told me to say who I am and what I do in one word, I would say creator.
Okay.
because I see the connection, entrepreneur in my mind, creator, teacher, author, creator, because I'm writing, right? And I just talk about what I write. And coaching, I'm creating because I'm pulling from inside of myself and helping someone create a world for them. So for me, it's just one thing with different ways of expressing that one thing.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel like a lot of different things to me.
And of the things that you were working on, is one of them a deeper passion than the other, or is it even kill across the board where I have the same amount of passion for each?
I have the same amount of passion for each.
I know that's right.
That's what's up.
I really do. I love all of it. The only challenge, the challenge has been over the years, learning how to embrace them all in a strategic way, to not burn myself out, to not be unproductive, and to lose passion.
Got you.
And that was actually a question I wanted to ask you, and then we'll go to the audience question.
Okay.
When you're in these spaces, especially when you're creating them for people who may need to just get it out, they need that outlet. How do you protect yourself to make sure you're not taking on everything?
I am empathic, right? I do have a therapist, a spiritual coach. I got a cardiologist. I got a tarot reader.
I know that's right.
I got sisters and cousins. And so I have a whole village of everything. I have a dietitian. I mean, I can just keep going. A loctician. No, but I share that to say that I have a process of knowing who I am. I'm aware of myself and who I am, and so I can I center myself. I know when I'm walking into a room. A friend of mine told me, she said, I noticed you when you walked in. She said, I noticed that you're so observant. I didn't know she picked that up, but I'm very aware of an environment that I'm in. I scope the scenery, and not so much with my eyes, with my spiritual eye, right? And so when I can settle into a space, then I know how to center myself in that space and then offer what needs to be offered.
Okay.
But the key is the maturity comes in knowing when to leave. So that's when you kind of lose yourself, when you overstay your welcome in the environment.
Absolutely.
We
So
got questions?
yes,
Okay.
down at the bottom.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
Said, this is awesome. How would I start something like this?
If they are referring to like a meetup, start it. I mean, and I'm not, that's not to be funny, but if it's something that you would like to do, if you want to pull people together in a space and talk, first of all, I would suggest that you examine your motive and your intention behind it, because keep in mind, this type of work, while it is good to do, I'm not lost, or it's not lost on me rather, that you're still dealing with people's vulnerability. And I don't take that lightly. So even if we didn't have the therapist as part of it, I have no problem pulling back in the space if I feel like this isn't okay. I'm not here I don't exercise no demons.
I know that's right.
I know that's right.
So examine your intentions and be very clear about your motive. And then you start finding your community. Don't overthink it. If you want to get people together, find 3 people. Find a restaurant, say, come on, let's talk, and you move forward from there. But it starts with intention and being clear about your motive.
Yeah. So with you talking about like being clear and intentional, one of the questions I have is like, since you're an entrepreneur, what pivotal moment in your entrepreneurial journey greatly influenced your approach to your businesses? So there had to be a point where some of this, you know what I mean? So what was that pivotal point where you're like, I'm either in or I'm out?
I'm either in or I'm out.
Yeah.
Babe, where can I start? I'm going to say, part of what I teach is, like I said, people embracing the fullness of who they are. And that includes all of the pieces of who you are. As a young Black woman growing up in Washington, D.C., I was raised to get a good job, get a college degree, get a good job. In other words, to be this image and check off the box, check
Mhm.
the box, check the box.
Yep.
And I checked all the things off the box and still was unhappy. So I had my business. I've been an entrepreneur since 2007.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mhm.
On and off. And I had success pretty quickly. I had one business that got national pretty fast. I was in Black Enterprise magazine.
Mhm.
People was giving me money. I had clients everywhere.
Yeah.
I was speaking places because of that, but I was terribly unhappy
Mhm.
because I wasn't myself.
Mhm.
All my pieces were scattered everywhere.
Mm.
So the pivotal moment was me recognizing all of my pieces were everywhere,
Mhm.
meaning I was not in a unfulfilling relationship.
Mhm.
I just really wasn't happy
Mhm.
with the work. I was happy with the work that I was doing, but I wasn't happy with how I was feeling inside
Right.
about it, because
Mhm.
I felt like I was trying to still check another box off
Mhm.
and prove that I was worthy
Yeah.
and prove myself.
Mhm.
And so that pivotal moment was I let my relationship go, like I mentioned before,
Mhm.
and then shut everything down. I had nothing, no clothes, no money. I had a bin with some clothes in it, and my father had a 1998 Honda Accord green that he broke the reverse thing on it, so it couldn't reverse. He broke it the day before he gave me the car.
Oh man.
And it, so that moment, then I had absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
And I decided that I was too broken. All of my pieces were so scattered that I felt too broken to raise my children alone as a single mom. And so I made a difficult decision to move to Wilmington, North Carolina. We were living in Raleigh, and I didn't bring my children with me.
Mm.
So that's a no-no for Black
Yes.
mamas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a long story, but that was that moment.
Mhm.
And then it was a 3-year journey of deciding I didn't want to. I was done with making money. I was done with entrepreneurship. I was done with writing books. I was done. And I was going to commit myself to community service work. And I did that for 3 years and realized I actually don't like being broke.
I know that's right.
I was like, altruism is
Right,
beautiful.
right.
However, I actually like, and what confirmed it was when I got evicted. So
Mhm.
I like money, lots and lots of money.
Mhm.
So that's when I decided that I had to figure it out, and that I was going to either shit or get off the pot.
Mhm.
And so I decided I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So then now with that, so I'm going to fast forward you a little bit, but we can talk about any pieces in between there, but I'm talking about the most current piece. So you got Sage 22. Can you talk about Sage 22, and then what are the guiding principles and values that you have that you want to keep in the forefront, knowing that you have had these pivotal moments, and this is also a reflection of your business and who you are now. So explain to those who are watching, and then those that'll hear what Sage 22 is, and then those principles and values that you created this on. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, Sage 22 Ventures is my umbrella company, and that houses all of my ventures, hence Ventures. And the name came from an old friend of mine, and I were going back and forth. And Sage is the word for wisdom, a wise counselor, and 22 is the number of a master teacher and a master builder. And I love numerology, and so in numerology, my birthday adds up to the number 22.
Okay.
So Sage 22, and then my middle name is Monique, and Monique means advisor.
Okay.
So all of that kind of put that together, and it encapsulates my passion for helping and advising people. So so that being said, Sage 22 is my place of creativity.
Okay.
My place to express my creativity through the work that I do. My values, or my business values are my personal values. So my personal value is one of accountability and transparency, walking in truth and not being afraid of your shadows.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's it. So there's a few sort of projects and businesses I have under Sage 22 Ventures, but that's
Okay.
umbrella.
Cool,
awesome.
cool. So as a best-selling author, what inspired you to share your knowledge? Like, so amongst everything that you're telling us, you're writing books.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you find the time to actually write these books, and what inspired these books that you were writing? Because you're a best-selling author.
I am
And
a
you're
best-selling author.
still going through
Mhm.
all these and still pushing to be an entrepreneur, but still
Mhm.
finding the time to get what's in your mind on paper.
Yeah.
So how did that all come about, and how were you handling that during the times that were not so good?
Mm-hmm. So the books always birth the the business
Mhm.
for me, because I'm a creative 1st.
Mhm.
So my first book I wrote by myself because I was trying to, I was working with business owners. When I first started, I used to work with behavioral health agencies, and I
Mhm.
was their financial consultant.
Mhm.
And I did their books, but I also realized that as I was doing their books, that they were having like issues as business owners and how to manage their business. And so I got into the advisory of that, made great money doing that. But then I started seeing even more connections with their spiritual and emotional life, and that birthed my first book.
Mhm.
And then and that book, the book's name is Embrace Your Journey.
Mhm.
And so I was sort of teaching about embracing your journey
Mhm.
as an entrepreneur, what makes you an entrepreneur, and all the principles around that. And then from there, so that led to more clients. So that's kind of how the books lead to the work. And then I met a young lady, or of a peer, friend, sister, if you will, of Akila S. Richards. And she was my first spiritual, I guess, teacher in terms of a peer. And she and I partnered together, and we wrote what became a best-selling book called How She Got Free.
Okay.
And it's literally a spiritual business manual. That's what we call it. And so that book got even deeper into the spiritual principles of entrepreneurship and how women, in particular Black women, are disconnected from truly like what makes us unique as entrepreneurs, and when we learn how to show up as ourselves. And so again, that led to the work. So
Can I stop you right there?
You can stop me.
That was a great point that you made, because we have been discussing this about us being Black people and not being able to just show up as ourselves. We always have to read the room and make sure when we're making certain eye contact, you feel comfortable, because there's always misreading of how we are when we enter spaces. So how, as a business strategist, how do you coach someone specifically in that? Because we do tend to do that whenever we're working with people, is make them feel comfortable, but it might even it might hurt us and cause us to miss the mark for what we want in a business transaction.
I coach on that actually, and I coach executives. You've done your homework apparently. I do coach executives and entrepreneurs on just that. And so, as you recall, when I was talking about my make it or break it moment, was I said I found like I was all in different pieces. And so I coach people in identifying first that you are probably in a lot of pieces, and then we work on gathering all those pieces together. And then I teach people how to embrace them, how to understand how they are all working together and are all necessary. And inside of that does come into looking at how we have been socialized, how systemic racism has impacted how we show up in rooms. But even that is a piece, right? Even that is something that we have to embrace and accept, that that's who we are. That's part of our experience, I should say. It's not who we are. So I help people understand the difference between an experience and who they are in that experience. And once you become aware and clear about this is who I am versus this is an experience that I'm having, then we can separate the two, and then you learn how to leverage the experiences you have to be to your benefit.
Right.
Like I mentioned, when I walk into a room, I walk in with my third eye. I walk in knowing who I am into the room. The room I can't control, but I can control me. And so how can I impact the room, or how is the room impacting me? Having that conversation. This didn't happen overnight. So I have been in spaces where, I was, an executive leadership role, and I won't get any more detail than that. But I was I was the first of my kind. Okay. And it was traumatizing.
Yes, ma'am.
Despite all that I knew, all that I studied, I got blurred between who I am and the experience that I was having.
Right.
Absolutely.
But but here's the key. Every experience gives you an opportunity to identify a piece. So even in that experience, even in knowing all that I know and studied all that I studied, I still had this experience that almost took me out. But I recognized, but that's a piece now. So now I can see the piece for what it is.
Right.
I examine it, I can break it down, and now I know how to maneuver through that.
Right. Right.
And show up as myself.
Right.
So now I'm in another situation where I'm still one of my kind. I'm the first of my kind again. But I already know what I'm walking into.
Right.
So now I don't have to be what you want me to be.
Right.
I'm clear.
Have you had an experience where you've shown up and you realized, I got to walk out this room?
Heck yeah.
And then did you actually walk out, or did you kind of just lean back? Because there are some spaces where they're just not for us. And we all try to force our way. And like you said, then we go home not feeling 100% about us. But what would be your coaching advice when somebody comes in the room and it's okay to say, this is not my space?
It's always okay to know when something isn't good for you. And we always know. What we typically do when we feel ourselves asking that question back and forth is what we're asking ourselves is, do I trust myself?
Right.
Do I trust myself? And if you stay somewhere where you know you shouldn't be, Dr. Gosh, I forgot her name. Dr. Tama, she posted on Instagram. She's a psychologist, and she posted on Instagram. If don't stay in spaces where you are disrespected, leave, because now everything that happens after that will dishonor you. I'm paraphrasing, but to me that's so powerful, because what she's saying is, so what is motivating you to stay somewhere where you really don't feel comfortable?
Exactly.
Because if you stay and you accept the disrespect, or your body is telling you that this isn't okay, and you stay anyway, it's just the same as that lady with the messy letter that she got some good stuff and now she don't know if she loved the man or not. Once you get a taste of whatever space you're in, and you go ahead and you take it, take that hit, it's hard to back up now, because what you told yourself, you told your intuition, I'm gonna override you, and your intuition is gonna say, okay, I'm gonna fall back, then let you have it.
You got it.
You got it. And guess what? You locked in, and you got to ride it all the way out. Ride that bad situation all the way out until you get the lesson.
And like you said, oftentimes, even for us, when we're in these spaces, we'll justify it, like this young lady, where it's like, well, the money's good. I have this position. I'm the first person of this color in this position. You know, this title holds weight. But like you said, but then you're also in a position where you're going home, you're exhausted mentally and physically. The stress is starting to take over on your body, and it's coming out in different ways, whether it's your attitude, whether it's you being sick, whether it's your body or whatever have
All
you.
of the above.
Yeah. And you're now at a point where it's just like, is it even worth it? You know, when do you service yourself and say, you know what?
This ain't it.
I'm good.
This ain't it. Yeah.
And do you find that some of your clients have a hard time with saying, I'm good on this?
Absolutely. Because we are easily, and I say we because I feel like you and I are one. I don't, I might be at a different place, but I still can go back there anytime. Because like Allen Iverson said years ago, practice. Everything is about practice. You got to keep practicing these principles. So yes, we do that. We will rationalize anything and make it good for us to give ourselves permission to stay. And we have to practice all the time, remembering why, what is motivating us to do this. I have clients who would say, well, let's just say the example could be letting somebody go, a business partner, and they don't want to let them go because of history or because of this or because of whatever. And I just, would challenge them again to go back to what is more important to you? Where does this come from? Where did you pick up this notion that you have to carry someone
Right.
longer than they need to be carried?
Right.
And what is that sense of control coming from? But what is that? Why do you feel like you have to control it?
Right.
Because sometimes we think we're doing things because we are trying to be loving in our hearts,
Right.
but really it's another form of manipulation and control.
Yeah.
So I would challenge that, and people don't like to hear that they're manipulative, especially when they think they got a good heart. Like, what do you mean? That's manipulation. Anytime you're trying to control and mold, because manipulation literally means to mold something to be what you want it to be, instead of allowing it to be what it is. That's a form of control and manipulation. So one of the techniques that I use is I always bring my clients back to what they said that they want.
I know that's right. We're here.
We're here. And how does this support
right
that?
now? Why you over here?
Yeah. How does this support that?
And let me ask you this, especially in the corporate world, and Black women in the corporate world, how do you teach them to take the cape off?
Oh, wow. I'm still teaching and still unpacking strategies to teach that. But teaching women about the source of who they are. One of the principles that I co-wrote in my book, How She Got Free, was the first principle, which is you and God are one, right? You being connected to source. And when I share that with women, and I share that with, my students, if you will, that our relationship with God, our relationship with source, is a relationship that you don't have with anybody else. So anything outside of that, mom, dad, whatever, is independent of this relationship. And so you have to consider, how are you dishonoring that relationship every time you blur a boundary? How is that getting you to your goal? Another thing that is important that I do share with women, and I've had to practice with myself, is learning how the body takes count of every time we dishonor ourselves, every time we disrespect ourselves, every single time. And relating it back to heart palpitations and whatever, headaches, anxiety, all of that. How does that all relate to the decisions that you're making every single day? My
so therapist actually referred a book. So to that point, what you're just saying, I'm going to share it because it's relevant to what you just said. I want to say the name of the book is called The Body Takes Count, but let me make sure I'm right on that. Hold on one second. It is called The Body Keeps Score.
The Body Keeps Score. That's the book I'm referring to.
The Body Keeps
Have you
Score.
read it yet?
He just told me on Monday.
You got to read it and get a notebook and a highlighter with you.
Okay, that's right.
Because it's really insightful.
Yeah, he was telling me like, "Yo, read that," because I'm one of those people that'll hold it in. The next thing you know, I'm like, "Why is my back hurting?" Well, because the body's keeping score, bro.
Why am I like this?
Yeah, why am I tight all the time? Because the body's keeping score of everything you have. We right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's sad we can't do the things we love, like volunteering and nonprofit, due to this expensive economy. That is true. And the body keeps scoring. Come on, so everybody.
Go ahead, everybody know in the book.
Yes,
all right.
Yes, I never heard of this book, but
it's really good.
He told me to go get the book. The Body Keeps Score.
Put that in my Amazon.
Yeah, it's really good.
So I got another question. In today's rapid evolving business and landscape, we're seeing a lot of young people getting money quick, fast, in a hurry. But what are some of the most critical skills and qualities for entrepreneurs and business leaders to cultivate to continue to make that money and be smart with it? Because we're seeing a lot of young people making a lot of money, especially with social media and all that stuff. But what are some of those critical skills and qualities they need to hold on to early?
You need to definitely get a handle on personal finance. I have in my day known many, many millionaires, have millionaire friends. I have not made it to millionaire status myself yet, but I've definitely been a multi-six-figure. But in seeing all of that, the common thread for seeing people who can make a whole lot of money, but not keep their money, that common thread is personal finances. some people think, your business and your personal is different. You can make a lot of money in your business. The patterns that you have personally will spill right into your business. So learn, get a grasp on your personal financial management. If you want to have a sustainable business. Another trap that entrepreneurs who make a lot of money, they get caught up in making a lot of money. And they don't realize that entrepreneurship is a slow game. It really is a slow game. You can make a lot of money really quickly and lose it all. But learn financial management. Don't feel like that's something that you have to delegate. My degree is in accounting. Don't feel like, I can just hire an accountant to do that. No, get a handle on it. Understand spending. Not saying you shouldn't spend, but understand it. Understand how to invest your money. Understand how to let your money grow for you. Understand how to delay gratification. Understand that you can't hire everybody and pay everybody what you want to pay them. Understand how to pull back. And so, financial management, personal financial management. Okay,
cool. So we've been at it for, we're at the top of the hour. I'm sorry. So you got to come back. You got to come back and we got to do this again because I didn't get through all my questions.
Okay.
We was talking good. No, not at all. This was great information. But just my last question is looking ahead, what are your aspirations and goals for Sage 22 Ventures, and how do you plan to continue to make impacts in the fields that you are doing with leadership, strategy, author, and then now your group it's join me to talk, or let's talk.
It's called let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. There we go.
Because it's two different names, but let's talk about it. So where does the future hold? So presently, Sage 22 Ventures is, like I said, houses my entrepreneurial endeavors. I'm focusing a lot more now on my authorship and executive coaching, teaching, just the one word, teaching through writing and sharing and hosting more events. So more intimate spaces, more invitation only spaces. The work that we're doing publicly for the community will continue, but you'll start seeing some more private invitation ones, intimate dinners with just women, and then some co-ed, writing, like I said, speaking, a lot of that. That's really what my heart is.
Great. So tell the people how to get in contact with you if they're interested in anything and everything that you offer, because you got a lot. So tell them how to get in contact.
Instagram is the best way to find me. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
hey, girl. I know. Hey, girl.
No, girl, let me follow you.
Oh, it's right there.
Yeah.
Oh, but you forgot one letter.
What did I forget?
MONIQ.
Oh, yeah.
See, I'm glad you caught that because I was rushing. I'm sorry. See, that's rushing right before.
I am Katrina Money.
So let's take that down. Beep, and let's put it in the comments section. So I'll put it in the comment section for you guys because there's a Q in there. It's Monique at the
you pop up. Even when you put MON, you pop right up.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Cool,
well, then
cool,
put it back up. Then let them
All right, cool. I put it right back up. Hold on.
Hi, girl.
And
bang,
that's
a cute
there it is.
Lip color, girl. Okay, I'm sorry.
So make sure you support, because you know how we do here at TDS. We always support Black businesses, Black ventures, whatever people are doing. We want to support it because that's how we're going to grow our community. I believe that we can do this again. We can live how we seen Black Wall Street and all that. We can do it, but the only way it's going to happen is if we support one another. So I want to thank you for coming in, and thank you for being a part of our TDS family. And thank you for your input on the messy letter, because not everybody feels comfortable doing it, but you fit right in. And tomorrow it's just us. Oh, okay. It's just us tomorrow.
It's just us.
Okay.
Well, and tomorrow we can go ahead and talk about this whole dating thing.
Oh, so we'll get a chance to talk about Fab Kim's dating.
It was cringy.
Oh, you went on a date?
No, I didn't go on the date.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
No, we didn't even make it to the date. The conversation
this is just the conversation
was cringy. I don't know why everyone wants to yell at me.
Yes.
I got yelled at because I didn't have kids, girl. I said, ooh, yeah.
So let's talk about that tomorrow. So everybody have a good night. God willing, we'll be here with you tomorrow promptly at 6 p.m. It's TDS Radio, our voice, our culture. Good night.
Bye, y'all.